Hey, so I wrapped up the install and the configuring on your TXQ Black Angel. So this is one of their crossguard hilts. It's got the two rings up here, side blade crossguards, as well as these reddish brown acrylic kind of guards over here. So this is a 2-button saber, so there's one button up there, one button down there. I also have 3 Illuminated NeoPixel connectors, which you probably can't see right now. For this hilt, it actually unscrews right underneath this kind of Rayflex looking band over here. So the body section separates right about there, so just unscrew that. You don't need to unscrew the pommel at all, just the middle section, the body section. So I got a test battery in here, so let's take that out. And here is your kind of translucent sky blue, light blue chassis. So we have our Proffie v3.9 over there. This one has the SD card facing up. That way it's a lot easier to access the SD card. You may notice that because the SD card is facing up, you actually don't have access to the onboard USB port anymore. That is solved by wiring up to kind of like an internal USB-C port over here. So this is going to handle both the slow charging, the 450 milliamp hour charging, as well as data transfer. So this is actually wired up directly to the Proffie board. To the side here, you have your kill switch. It's actually marked on there in Arabesh, but because of the filament, the chassis color, you may not actually be able to see it. Right now it's in the off position, pointing down. To the side here, because the Proffie board is flipped upside down, you no longer have access to the boot and reset buttons. So to work around that, I actually directly soldered this button to the boot, the onboard boot button. That way, if you do need to put the board into bootloader mode, you hold down the boot button, and then you can toggle the switch, the kill switch to the side. That is going to emulate that's going to emulate holding down the boot button as well as toggling the reset button. So there's that. Over here, you have your battery holder. It's actually marked positive there and negative there, but because of the chassis color, you may not be able to see it. So the positive side is over there, negative side is over here. And down here, we have our 22mm bass speaker. So on these builds, I opt for a 22mm speaker instead of a 24, because you can actually fully enclose a 22mm speaker. And in there, it's kind of hidden, but I do have a speaker spacer to cup over the speaker. That way you direct the sound waves directly at the pommel. Now, to the back over here, gotta be really careful because the top side of the hilt is pretty heavy. You have our 2 LED Edison filament strips. So the external kind of insulation layer is orange, but the LEDs themselves are pink. Those light up when the blade or when the battery is inserted. So let's put the test battery back in. Let's do negative side first. Insert it there. And then just slide it into positive and then flip the kill switch.
The mouth saber. You seem a little unhinged.
Let's go back to that font. So when the battery is in, I have a slow dimming pulsating effect on the Edison filaments. And then when the saber's turned on, it kind of has that audio flicker. You may not be able to pick that up well, okay, but there's a slight audio flicker to it. Up here, I also have my LED tactile switches. So this is supposed to mimic the main blade color, but because of the diffusion, on some, it actually distorts the color a little bit. So on this, let's put the body in first. So screwing the body back on. So the tactile switch is supposed to mimic the main blade color. So this is kind of like a purplish magenta color. But on here, it kind of diffuses the color a little bit, so it ends up being pink on here. Also, when you're screwing in the body section, make sure you don't screw it in too tight. You don't want to over tighten it. You want to make sure that this bar over here lines up with the tactile switches, and the cover tech wheel is opposite of that. So just roughly about there. You don't want to over tighten it because then eventually it will stretch the threads and it will mess up the clocking. So there's the Illuminated NeoPixel connectors. There's the main one up there. So this sound font has kind of like a pulsating effect where it pulses between kind of like a black or like no color to purple. And on the sides, I removed that extra buffer at the start where it's kind of pulsating between black and purple for the side blades. So let's put blades in here. So the TXQ Black Angel itself comes with kind of crossguard blades, so short blades. So it comes with 2. Just insert that. Make sure it's inserted all the way until you feel the pogo pins making contact. And then on this one, there's 1 retention screw right there. So you want to make sure the blade is compressed. So it's making contact with the pins, and then just tighten that down. So there's 1 side blade done. And then you want to insert the second side blade. So one of them is kind of weird in that there's 2 retention screw holes, and the other one only has 1. On this one, I opted to only include 1 retention screw, but if you want, you can add the retention screw to the other retention hole. And on this one, there's only 1. So let's get that blade inserted. Make sure you compress the side blade. And then the retention screw hole is right here. So at the back, kind of hidden right above the acrylic kind of crossguard. Just tighten that down. And then for the main blade, I'll just use one of my short dagger test blades. Inserting that. Oops. Make sure it's inserted all the way. And tighten that down. So the retention screw is right underneath this ring here, this bigger ring up here. Just tighten that down. It's a little hard to navigate because this saber is pretty big. That one isn't connected, so I'll fix that up. So I got the alignment on and fixed up. So specifically on the right crossguard, you don't want to tighten it too much because that might affect the alignments of the blade, making contact with the data pin. So just make sure that you insert it, tighten it a little bit, and make sure that it's properly connected. So here's your crossguard, all 3 blades lit up. It's kind of hard to show. Got smooth swing, blaster blocks, flash and clash.
And when I kill you, I will have killed you myself.
So I changed it from the default blade style, so that it's illuminated the entire blade now.
I just will never accept it. Protoss. Let's go, bub.
The mouth saber. You seem a little unhinged.
And back to the first sound font. So because of the size of this saber, as well as all the attachments, I might actually remove some of these. In particular, I'm probably going to be removing these acrylic crossguards because these are pretty fragile if they're damaged, if they move around during shipping. So I'll probably remove these. I might remove these, but I'll tell you how to add these back on. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And as always, thank you so much for letting me work on this, and may the force be with you.